Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, Mr. Secretary. And thank you for allowing me to wave on to the subcommittee today. Like so many Americans, Mr. Secretary, I was really appalled by the New York Times investigative reports about the surge in illegal child labor in our country. We have a moral responsibility to ensure that children are not exploited on our watch. Before reading that investigative report, I would have responded if asked about child labor in our country and said that it was part of another century, that it's gone. But on the heels of that, I led 25 members in writing to you on May 25th about this horrible situation, and we got a response this morning. I've been poring over your letter since it's come in, but here are my questions. In the letter that I received this morning, Assistant Secretary Contreras writes that ORR's internal audit found that the agency, quote, adhered to its program policies and priorities designed to meet or exceed statutory requirements when vetting potential sponsors of unaccompanied children. Honestly, you know what that sounds like to me? Nothing is wrong. We did everything right. But there are some terrible things that are wrong, in my view, and I think in others. If ORR is, quote, meeting and exceeding its statutory requirements, A, why are we witnessing such an alarming rise in the exploitation of children discharged from the agency's custody? And B, have the children in the sites that they were found to be in, where they were located, factories, slaughterhouses, construction sites, have they been removed from those places?
Congressman, are you asking, have the children been removed from those work sites? That I could not answer because, again, as I said, you probably weren't here, but we've discussed how our authorities, our reach, once we have placed a child in a vetted sponsor's hands, we lose that responsibility.
Let me just say this. I don't ever desire to be or will I be a secretary in a president's cabinet. But honestly, if this came on my watch, and even though that's not under my department, I would pick up the phone with the Department of Labor, the secretary, and say, I have some jurisdiction in this, and it's a mess.
And we've
but
done
I
that.
just want to highlight
And we've done that.
where these children are.
Yeah.
So
And
that's why I
Congresswoman,
was
we've done
asking
that.
the question.
The Congresswoman, we've done that. We've done more. We actually entered into a formal agreement.
But so they have they been removed from these sites? I mean, they're 13 and 14-year-olds working in slaughterhouses, factories, and
enforcement, Congresswoman, with the Department of Labor, I can take back to them the questions that you're asking about whether there's been enforcement at those work sites.
The New York Times reports that, and this was raised by another member, that you told Cindy Wong that, quote, if she could not increase the number of discharges, that is of unaccompanied children, you would find someone that could. I heard your answer. You don't deny that you've said it, but you won't say that you did because you can't talk about it. I think we need to do better. That's my real point. I don't need to ask the question again. But this is so unsettling. This is so unsettling. These are well, I guess at my age I would call them babies. But these are the innocents of the world. And this is really terrible. And I think that the reporting of your threatening to fire her under, undue pressure to expedite releases, I hope you've gone back to review that. I don't know if you have. Let me ask you if you've gone back to review releases. I mean, is there too much speed and not precision relative to the children and their lives and their well-being?
Congresswoman, as I've said before, I have not threatened anyone, and I do not threaten people.
So did you speak to this reporter and say, or your shop say to this reporter,
I
this
never
is
spoke-
totally
I
inaccurate?
never spoke to that reporter.
Did you read the full investigative report?
Which
The
investigative?
New York
report?
Times?
I read the article. I don't know if it was an investigative report. It was an article. It had a lot of information that I think misunderstands the way ORR operates. And there's information in there that's
Yeah,
based
well,
on
my time has expired,
third-party
but I just want to say that reports of trafficking and abuse of immigrant children has more than doubled from 21 to 22. Really, at the end of the day, as HHS Secretary, the buck stops with you. So I can hope, I can pray, I can press. Other members have, members from both sides of the aisle. This is something that needs to be totally removed from taking place in our country. Really, I think that God's going to hold all of us responsible if this is not addressed and addressed the way it should.
Gentlelady yields back.
Thank you, and I yield back.
Now recognize